The Lantern Monk. On a damp autumn night, when mist curled like ghostly fingers along the edges of Willow Creek, a weary traveler named Liang stumbled into a forgotten mountain village. His robes were tattered from weeks on the road, and his eyes held the dull ache of someone searching for something. Or perhaps someone. The village was small, hemmed in by a forest that whispered like an old storyteller. Its narrow lanes wound past crooked wooden houses, their lanterns swaying dimly in the wind. Few people walked about, but those who did kept their heads low, as if afraid to meet a stranger's gaze. Liang stopped before the only inn in sight, a modest building with faded red paint and a sign that read, "The Lotus Rest." The innkeeper, an elderly woman with silver hair braided neatly, looked him over before speaking in a hushed tone. "You should not wander at night here, traveler. The lanterns do not always light the way. Sometimes they lead you elsewhere." Liang offered a tired smile. "I only seek a place to rest. I have no fear of lanterns." The woman's brow furrowed, but she handed him a key without another word. That night, as rain pattered softly on the roof, Liang could not sleep. From his window, he saw a faint glow moving in the distance, not the steady shine of a lamp, but a wavering, beckoning light. Without quite knowing why, he dressed and stepped into the mist. The glow led him to an old temple at the edge of the forest. Its gates sagged, the paint long peeled away, and a heavy scent of damp incense lingered in the air. Inside, candles flickered in alcoves, casting restless shadows across faded murals of monks and spirits. It was then that he heard it, the slow, deliberate chime of a bell, followed by a voice, low and calm. "You've come far, Liang." From the shadows emerged a tall figure in simple monk's robes. His head was shaven, his expression serene, but his eyes carried an unearthly depth. In his hands, he held a lantern whose flame burned a strange bluish hue. "I am Huizhen," the monk said, "guardian of this temple and of those who pass between the worlds." Liang frowned. "What do you mean by that?" The monk's gaze softened. "Some souls cannot move on. They linger, drawn by what they cannot release. This temple shelters them until they are ready to face the truth." Before Liang could ask more, a sound rose from deeper within the temple. A faint rustle, like silk brushing against stone. From the darkness, a young woman appeared, her face pale as moonlight, her eyes shimmering with something between sorrow and longing. She looked at Liang, and for a moment, he felt the world narrow to just the two of them. "Do you remember me?" she whispered. Liang's breath caught. He studied her face, delicate features framed by dark, flowing hair, and a strange familiarity tugged at his memory, though he could not place her. I don't think we've met," he said carefully. Her lips curved into the faintest smile, but her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "We have. Not in this life, but in another." Before Liang could speak, Huizhen stepped forward, his lantern's blue light spilling across the temple floor. "She is Mei, a soul bound to this place for over 100 years. Mei's gaze never left Liang. He promised he would return for me, but he never did." Her voice was so soft, it almost blended with the patter of rain outside. Huizhen set the lantern between them. Its flame brightened, and images flickered within, a memory painted in firelight. Liang saw a younger version of himself, though dressed in ancient robes and with a different name, standing beneath a willow tree with Mei. She placed a red silk cord around his wrist, smiling shyly. Then the scene shifted. Soldiers shouting, the clash of steel, The young man was dragged away, never to return. Liang staggered back, his mind reeling. That was me? Huizhen nodded. Your soul has walked the earth many times. Sometimes the past finds you before you find it. Mi reached out, her hand passing close to his cheek, though he felt only the faintest chill. I waited. Through war, famine, and silence, I waited. Liang's heart ached. I'm here now. But Huizhen's calm voice cut through the moment. She cannot follow you into this life unless the chain of longing is broken. Otherwise, she will wander here until the temple itself crumbles to dust. Liang swallowed hard. Then tell me what to do. The monk turned, gesturing toward the rear of the temple. Beyond this hall is the forest of still water. There, beneath the oldest willow, lies the place where her mortal body was buried. If you light this lantern and speak her name without faltering, she may find peace. But Liang sensed the weight behind that pause. But what? Huizhen's eyes glinted in the blue flame. Others linger there. Not all are willing to let go. The journey to the forest felt longer than it should have. Mist hung thick, muffling every sound, until the only thing Liang could hear was the slow crunch of his own steps. The willow trees loomed like silent watchers, their branches trailing in unseen currents of air. Halfway through, he heard it, a faint chorus of whispers, rising and falling like the tide. Shapes moved in the mist, gaunt figures in tattered robes, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. They did not block his way, but each one turned to watch him pass, their expressions unreadable. At last, he reached the great willow. Its trunk was twisted with age, roots breaking the earth like the backs of sleeping dragons. Liang knelt, placing the lantern at its base. "May?" he began, voice trembling. The branches swayed, though there was no wind. From the shadows between the roots, May emerged, her form clearer now, her eyes wide. "You came," she whispered. Liang steadied his breath, forcing his voice to hold firm despite the pounding in his chest. "I came, and I will not fail you again." He lit the lantern. The blue flame surged higher, casting ripples of light across the willow's drooping branches. May stepped closer, her bare feet leaving no trace in the damp soil. The faint smile on her lips was tinged with both relief and sadness. "It has been so long. I almost forgot the sound of my name." From the mist, the other spirits stirred, their murmurs sharpening into low, almost pleading calls. Some took hesitant steps toward the light, their hollow eyes reflecting the flame. Huizhen's voice echoed from somewhere unseen. "Do not stop speaking her name. The flame will guide her out, but it will also draw the others." Liang's pulse raced. He repeated her name again and again, each syllable a lifeline thrown into the dark. Suddenly, one of the lingering spirits broke from the shadows, rushing toward him. Its face twisted in desperation, clawed hands reaching for the lantern. Liang tightened his grip, refusing to falter. May's form wavered, flickering like smoke. "Liang, please, just once more." He called her name with all the force his lungs could muster. The willow's branches swept downward in a single, rustling arc. The blue flame flared white, and the rushing spirit dissolved into mist. May's body shone with a soft, golden light. She stepped close, placing her hand over his heart, and this time, he felt warmth. "In another life, I will wait for you, but not here. Not like this." With those final words, her form lifted into the air, unraveling into threads of light that vanished into the night sky. The forest fell silent. The whispers faded, leaving only the faint drip of water from the willow leaves. Liang knelt there for a long time, staring at the empty space where she had stood. When he returned to the temple, Huizhen was waiting by the gate. The monk's expression was calm, but there was something gentler in his eyes now. "She is free," Huizhen said simply. Liang bowed deeply. "Thank you. For her. And for me." The monk placed the extinguished lantern in Liang's hands. "Keep it. Someday, another soul may need its light. And yours." And as Liang walked away from the temple, the first rays of dawn broke through the mist, painting the world in gold. Somewhere far beyond sight, he hoped Mei was seeing the same sunrise.